Negative space refers to the white space or paper color that shows through a design. What we see on screen is from the Wikipedia entry on negative space. It's a visual conundrum. Is it two people in profile, or is it a vase? Using negative space to imply a shape reversed out of a background can be a great way to add a twist to your logo. Negative space can be hard to deploy, but if you can pull it off, it really adds something. It also provides an aha moment for viewers when they realize what the negative space connotes. Here are some ways we can work with negative space. So I'd like to create this monogram, and I'm going to position the G and the T relative to each other. I want the G to go behind the T, so I'll send that to the back, and then I'll select the F. I'll start out by making that white. Ultimately, it needs to be transparent, but just while we're positioning it, I'll make it white, and then scale it into position. The type has already been converted to outlines. And in this particular case, I just want to nudge it a bit to the left so that it's covering that space. And I think make it a little bit more noticeable as an F, a little bit more distinct as an F by moving this crossbar down a fraction. So I'll select those anchor points and then just use my down arrow to nudge that down. And I also now need to just bring those anchor points out so that they align with the right edge of the T. Okay, so having done that, I'll now select everything, come to my Shape Builder tool, and I'm going to hold down the optional Alt key and delete the segments that make up the F. And the reason for that is that if we are placing this on a field of color, that area represented by the F is always going to be transparent. An often cited example of negative space is the yin-yang symbol. It's an interesting exercise to recreate one of these. I'll start with a circle, and I'll give that circle a black 2-point stroke. I'm now going to copy that to the clipboard. We'll be needing this later. I'll put the stroke back to none. I now will choose my scale tool, and because I'm working with artwork that has no fill and no stroke, I'm going to move to my outline view mode. And because it's very important that I'm precise here, I'm going to get in nice and large on my view size. I'll hold down Alt or Option and click on the anchor point. I want a copy at 50%. And then I'm going to drag down a copy from that to the bottom of the circle. I need to make sure that they line up exactly, which it looks like they do. Now with both of those selected, I'll come to the Object menu, Transform, Transform Each. I want copies of both of those circles at 25%. I'll now select all of the artwork, come to my Preview View mode, choose my Shape Builder, and I can combine those two shapes, applying a color, and I can click on that interior shape to apply a color to that. Here's where we need that circle that we copied to the clipboard. I will now paste that in front, and then we can group all of the artwork together. In this example, I want to show that sometimes the negative space not only between letters, but within letters can be interesting. Helvetica is known for having a tear-shaped counter inside the A. So if our logo has the word water in it, or if it's in any way water-themed, and we have an A in the logo name, perhaps we can explore this option. I've converted the type to outlines, but I need to go a step further. In fact, I need to go 2 steps further. I need to, first of all, ungroup that so that I can select the individual words. And then so that I can get to that counter, I need to release the compound path. Now the compound path has been released, I can come and select it, and I can apply a different color to it. We can also create negative space through repetition. I'm going to select this cat shape and copy it, and then paste it in back. With that copy that is pasted in back, I'm going to nudge it out and up and change its color. I'll then repeat that. Copy, paste in back, nudge it out, nudge it up, change its color. Now, it's working at the top because it's a relatively simple shape. Down here, it's just getting visually confusing. So maybe, just maybe, if this were our logo, we could put some sort of enclosing shape around it and make that into a clipping mask. We can also achieve some interesting negative effects through the use of compound shapes. Here I have two leaves placed on top of a field of black and overlapping that field of black. I'll select those three elements, then come to my Pathfinder panel, and I want to use this option here, Exclude. I'm going to hold down Option or Alt as I do this to make it into an editable compound shape, by which I mean I can now double click on any of those elements and move them around, and that positive negative interaction will update.